Let's bring in now Army veteran and House Foreign Affairs Committee member Congressman Stephen Watkins. Good to see you, Congressman. So, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo had some strong words earlier today on Iran. Let's just listen to some more of them.
This assessment is based on intelligence, the weapons used, the level of expertise needed to execute the operation, recent similar Iranian attacks on shipping, and the fact that no proxy group operating in the area has the resources and proficiency to act with such a high degree of sophistication. Taken as a whole, these unprovoked attacks present a clear threat to international peace and security.
Congressman, how do we respond now?
Well, listen, we need to hope that they respond with democracy from our democracy. Now, listen, we obviously have the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Force Group in there, but we are going to respond with economic and diplomatic measures and hope that they come to the table.
Well, hello, thank you for being with us. I think what's going to be alarming to all of us is if we see shipping rates go up, if insurance rates continue to go up, because they already have based on the last series of events. I mean, at some point, aren't people going to demand that the United States take a firmer action here and strike back at this unprovoked attack on international shipping? This is pretty serious, it seems to me.
No, it is very serious, and that's why we're seeing involvement from Mike Pompeo, from the president. We've acted accordingly. We've postured well in the area. We have, again, the USS Abraham Lincoln. We've pre-positioned F-15s and B-52 fighters in the area, and we're taking the situation very seriously. I'm proud of that. But, of course, this also is muted by the fact that we're energy independent for the first time in 70 years. You know that, obviously, we're the world's leading producer in oil and gas. That helps the posture. I lived in the Middle East for many, many years, and the linkage between security and energy production is very apparent, and we've learned from that, and I'm proud that the U.S. is a leading energy producer.
Congressman, it's Christina Partsinevelos. I'm just wondering a little bit more about how we can move forward, because you have Iran that's denying this. They're saying the timing is suspicious, and that's coming from the Foreign Affairs Minister. And then you have the Iran Supreme Leader telling Abe that they will not negotiate with President Trump. So how do we move forward then to stop this from happening?
Listen, it'd be great to have proof. We need to have proof. It would be great if we were to be presented that proof to the through perhaps the United Nations. But we have intelligence, some intelligence that I know that I can't share with you, and we have reason to believe that they're responsible.
Hey, Congressman, this is Gary Kalpam. Thanks for being with us. My worry is it seems to be since the start of May, it's escalating. First, Iran threatened to enrich the uranium. Then we send the USS Lincoln. We send the Patriot missile battery, 1,500 troops. And now this. How can we back away from this with all the harsh rhetoric going on without something really nasty happening?
Well, listen, we want a peaceful resolution. That's why we're acting first with diplomacy and economic measures. We got to stay the course, and already what we're seeing is them responding to those pressures. That's what this is them responding to those. And again, we're sitting in a very, very good position with that energy independence. You know, we have doubled energy production since 2008, and we're expected to increase it by another 50% in the next decade. We're positioned well.
Congressman, these are essentially floating bombs and carrying massive quantities of oil in this case. Can shippers be assured that the U.S. government is going to protect them against, would you consider this to be an act of war? How else would you describe it? And can shippers be assured that they're going to be protected against attacks like these?
Well, that's a measure that we have taken in the past, dating back to the Iran-Iraq war. As in the Strait, we used to accompany oil tankers. We haven't taken that measure, and we haven't accepted the mission of assuring absolute protection of all tankers. But we have that capability.
Would you support it, sir? Would you support that?
Well, I would support looking into that as a potential solution and a possible way ahead.
Congressman, Christina mentioned that Prime Minister Abe from Japan is in Iran right now, ironically for peace talks or to discuss the possibility of peace between Iran and Japan and the rest of the world. If, in fact, Iran is responsible for this, it appears to be an attempt on their part to embarrass the prime minister. I mean, a loss of face to be in Iran at the same time that your tankers are being attacked by Iran. It looks like an attempt to embarrass him.
highly unusual that that would happen, and this is obviously an affront to the Japanese, who take things like this pride so very important, so very seriously. Very unusual, but again, we have reason to believe that it was Iran, and in many ways, Japan and Prime Minister Abe are our partners in peace and economics, and so we're postured well to protect our interests, protect freedom, and our allies.
I gather that there are one, possibly two tankers that are ready to go, or at least there's loads of oil ready to be shipped that are refusing to sail because of these events. I mean, what happens if that turns into 10 or then 20 shipments of oil that are basically held up? I mean, then I think, to Jonathan's point, you're really going to have to make some kind of assurance to shippers that they're going to be protected. And I don't know how you do that except with force.
Well, obviously Iran's intent here is to obstruct oil trade. A lot of oil, despite our energy independence and the fact that we're a net exporter, millions of barrels of oil do pass through the area, and so it matters to the region. It matters to the world economy, and we're going to take escalating. It will escalate the steps if needed.
Congressman, we thank you very much for joining us, and we thank you for your service to the country as a serviceman. We really appreciate it.